on the left side of your screen is Micah Parsons. He plays for the Cowboys. The man on the right side of your screen is not a Cowboy. That man is Darius Slay, who plays for the Eagles. Eyebrows were raised, and so was blood pressure when fans saw that Darius Slay and Micah Parsons, division rivals, doing a podcast together. It's really shocking. It's chaotic, but it's the culture that we currently live in.
Eagles fans.
No doubt about it.
Eagles fans are...
Eagles fans were not... Cowboys fans weren't happy either, at all.
Cowboys fans are...
Shady, you played at a high level. You played at the superstar level. You, too, have a podcast. 2510, shout out to you and D. Jack. But you didn't start your podcast till after you were done.
Yeah.
And your podcast was with your former teammate.
Right.
So just to set the standard, Shady's still not doing a podcast with somebody that was an arch rival, but even still, it wasn't while he was playing. Shady, I can't wait for your answer to this one. Do you have an issue with Micah Parsons and Darius Slay doing a podcast together?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah. And Micah's from Harrisburg, hometown, so a lot of love to him. You know, and Slay is my guy. But I just like, when it's in season, right? The Cowboys, Eagles, that is a real thing. That is a real rivalry. I'll give you an example, like Dez Bryant, right? I was always cool with Dez, right? Before the game, we chop it up, we talk a little bit, you know, but it's guidelines, though. I can't get over that line of, okay, we getting too close during the season, right? Because it is a rivalry. And if anything goes wrong, I'm going to defend my guy before I defend you. There was times where Malcolm Jenkins and him had a little disagreement, right? I'm cool with Dez, but Malcolm's my teammate. So the best thing I do is get the middle dudes. Yo, hey, Dez, chill out, man. Hey, go ahead, man. Malcolm, come on, go ahead. Because, like, even though I'm probably more friends with Dez, I still can't do that, right? And the times now are different. Like, there's no competitive nature for real. Everybody want to be homies and cool.
That's it, right?
Guys want to work out with each other. I remember Arian Foster, I was really good friends with. He's like, yo, man, hey, we down Texas working out, you know what I'm saying? Me and such and such, come hang out with us. I'm thinking, like, nah, dog, I'm competing against you. I don't want to work out with you. Yeah. And it's like, at a certain age, it's like, yo, we are competing. Another thing about this league is, like, everybody's so friends where now want to trade jerseys. Yeah. When I was coming up, right?
No doubt.
We weren't doing that, swapping jerseys and all that, right? You know, maybe the top elite dudes, because there's times I would trade my jersey with, like, dudes like Richard Sherman, Darrell Reeves, Calvin Johnson, like, elites of the elites. But now it's like, the backup trading with this other dude is like, what we doing? We competing, though. I play for the Eagles. You play for the Cowboys. That's what it is. After the season, if we want to kick it, cool, but not during the season. So I think nowadays, like, everything is such a social thing. We want publicity. We want to be on the social media. That whole avenue. I'm not with it, so I guess the times are different because I want to compete. And I feel like nowadays it's like, hey, we got a game next week, but we rivals, but hey, let's still joke it up on a podcast.
Does it matter on the football field? Like,
yeah, it matters. Yeah. Huh? Listen, I want my homeboy to whip your tail. How can we be cool, like, doing all that? After that, take the pads off, take the cleats off. You want some coffee? Let's hang out. But when we competing during the season, let's just keep it minimal. Or, like, let's text and call each other. Yo, FaceTime. Yo, CJ Gardner. Yo, he acted crazy. Like, you know what I mean? We in the middle of this. We in war. This is a combat sport, right? Yeah. I want people to understand that, like, this is a physical game. Like, yo, I ain't trying to hurt this guy. That's what it is.
I was a backup my entire career, and you're the all-time leading rusher for the Eagles. You said you wouldn't trade with back. Would you trade with me if I wanted to? Because, like, I'm trying to get a shady for, like, right now. Would you do it?
Oh, well, now, well, yeah, we're teammates.
But not then.
No.
Like, even I'm boys with Macklin.
I'm telling you, dog. You looking at me with them eyes. No, I don't do that, man. I don't do that. No, I do not do that.
All right.
But now, though, if you want, I got to come. Oh, today, yeah. But back then, but now for sure.
Look,
I got a man cave.
I don't have an issue with it in reality. I have an issue with it optically. I'm going to say this, and it stuck with me. Nobody cares what you're doing till you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. I think Mike and Slay got to remember that. Cowboys as a team aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. The Cowboys defense isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing. Micah Parsons is a dog, but 1 sack through 4 games. That ties his career low through 4 games. Darius Slay, you already know what it is. 6-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro, big play Slay. But Slay has said self-admittedly against the Falcons game, the Eagles did not necessarily close that game out because Slay didn't have his eyes where they necessarily should have been. Nobody cares what you do until you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. The Eagles as a team 2-2. Not doing what they're supposed to be doing, nor is their defense. The Cowboys as a team 2-2, not doing what they're supposed to be doing, nor is their defense. As a result, people are up in arms. Now, attention, fans. The players, contrary to popular belief, they still boys, even though they enemies on the field. You can't necessarily leave the field and still, I can't stand that mother sucker. That's not how it works. They still boys. There has to be space for them to be boys. But with that being said, Cowboys not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Eagles not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Optically, it looks terrible. But in reality, it ain't all that.
See, I don't like that. You can't play both sides of the fence there. You either like it or not. So if you're saying both those guys are 4-0, you'd be okay with it, but defense are...
Same thing with Kelsey last year.
Come on.
Think about it.
You can't play both sides.
I didn't like the Kelsey podcast at all.
The which one?
The Kelsey.
Why not?
New
They're
Heights.
brothers.
No doubt. But I'm saying it's the middle of the season. After games, y'all doing podcasts. I don't like the
because they got $100 million off it.
I don't like the concept of it. But Kelsey went to the Super Bowl and won. Jason went, was another All-Pro again. So if y'all balling still, I don't care. But I hated it when Draymond was losing, getting benched and doing a podcast.
So let's say
playing both sides.
The Cowboys, they play the Eagles. Saquon has 225 yards rushing. That might happen, real talk. But that's 225 yards rushing, right? And Micah has a good game, but let's say, they're going to blame him for the runs, rushing yards, right? And then the podcast comes up. Don't think they're going to be blaming that?
Probably.
His own teammates said, we doing podcasts, but we should worry about stopping the run.
Correct.
But do you see how, even if it's not true, it could just start chaos?
Yes, and that's where I'm at.
You know what I mean?
Because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Ain't nobody said a word about Kelsey's podcast. Said a word. But remember last year when Kelsey didn't have 1,000 yards, people... then he got to the playoffs. Ain't nobody said nothing.
I don't have an issue at all with them doing the podcast because it's a different era right now, even when I was in the league. Like, I'll take you back to 2021. I recently retired. I think I'm the recently retired out of everyone here. So I was on the field in 2022 is my last year. I think January of 2023 is my last game. And so times have changed. Like, I worked for NFL Network while I was still playing. I did 30 shows on Monday night, but I also understood what comes with that when you're on national TV or a national podcast like this with VR, because they are national. You just got to watch what you say. I have no issue with what you do and how you do it because everyone has a platform. And nowadays, national media, it's becoming more player-friendly.
Question for you. If you were the starter, I think I already know the answer, but if you were the starter that year when you were doing those 30 shows, would you have still been doing those shows?
I don't think as a starter at quarterback you can do that. DB and D lineman, no offense, it's a little bit different. For a starting quarterback, it's never been done before.
But why not? Well, Aaron Rodgers does it, obviously.
Yeah, but he does Pat McAfee Wednesdays or whatever, Tuesdays, whatever it is. But if a starting quarterback does, you prep way too much.
But you have, I believe, see, I don't think it's about prep, 2-5. I don't think it's about prep, Jay. I think you have 30 minutes. You got to eat. You got to use the bathroom. It's not like a starting quarterback ain't got 30 minutes. You got the time. I think optically, as a quarterback, it's not a good look, James Jones.
I hate. And I tell my kids, hate's a strong word, bro. Leave that hate word out. I hate everything about this. The competitive nature of our game is going.
Oh, it's not gone. Okay, it's
going.
Oh, it's almost.
Everybody's game to stardom and all that. Nobody's worried about the competition no more. This right here screams to me, that's my homeboy. I ain't worried about him playing over there. There's no rivalries in football no more, real rivalries. Not on the field, not off the field. There's no more real rivalries. I always remember the old school players because a lot of them are scouts now, probably in y'all building too with the Eagles. I remember them all always saying, man, we were the dog jaw. I'm like, bro, shut, what you talking about? But they right. They was way more of dogs than us. They played way harder. They way more rivals, way more competition. I remember Sammy Seal. I had a conversation with Sammy Seal, and he said, he played DB. He was a scout for the Packers. And he said, I used to grow my nails out real long. Because at the end of the game, DB, the receiver gonna have scratches all on his neck. Like, that's how, like, the rivalries was back in, it was just different. Nowadays, man, like Shady said, we trying to trade jerseys. The backup quarterbacks is trading jerseys. The starting running backs is trading jerseys. The punters is trading jerseys. There is no rivalries in the league no more. And it starts with this little stuff right here. I know it sounds crazy, but it starts with this little stuff right here. So you basically telling me, Slay on your podcast, he go out here and pick Dak Prescott off 3 times and all that. You know what I'm saying? You friends with this dude. You probably gonna go on your podcast the next week and say, man, my dog Slay was on my podcast. He had a big... That's crazy to me. But that's how it's going to go. That's crazy to me. I hate everything about it because the competition and all that, to be honest with you, in our game, I believe is going down. I do.
Do you have an issue with Slay appearing just
I hate
on
it
his
all,
podcast?
Chase.
Or that actually
I hate it all, man.
Or that actually Micah has a podcast.
No, I don't care about Micah's podcast. Do what you want to do. I hate when rivals is coming on there and dudes that you playing is coming on there. Another thing I hate, Chase, too, is when we're on the football field and it's a timeout.